So as mentioned, SWDDT code is there for workflow builder. So in our case, we are going to build a workflow which will be nothing but a counter. We'll use a variable. We understand what are workflow containers. We also understand what are loops. That is nothing but one object. We also understand what is counter. That is counter operations, container operations. I'm sorry. And we also see how to send a mail. So all these three are bundled in this single assignment. And also we have this workflow completed. The graphics complete view. See, the workflow is initiated. There is a loop object. If the loop is completed, it will complete. If the loop is not complete, it will again go in this loop. So we'll have this one container object created, which will have some value, and according to that value, this loop will figure. It is, if it is 10, then 10 times the loop will trigger, and 10 times the mail will be sent. So in various business scenarios, this situation might occur that based on the let's suppose some work item needs to be created. Work item is nothing but an object in the business workplace. SBWP. That we have business workplace. That is a work item. Okay. So we'll see how this all scenario is done. We'll also see how to debug and test. So in that we'll realize that if the workflow is triggered, if how many times the loop has gone, how many times it has not sent the mail. So all that traces will be checking out in the test when we test the workflows. So meanwhile, if you have any doubts, please raise your voice and ask. So we'll continue. We'll start this assignment. We'll create a new workflow. In this workflow, we'll simulate this example. Very simple, not a big challenging one. So as we have created a new workflow, as you can see, there is one undefined double click. This is nothing but an undefined step. This is a step. So in this step, you are able to map any of the objects. As mentioned, we are going to do a loop and mail and decrement operation on the variable. So first we create a variable, and this container object, as you can see, there is nothing which is enabled. It is all grey out, correct? So in this we create, by double clicking it, we create a variable name as LVCOUNT, counter. Let's suppose this will count the loop pass. Counter for loop pass. Okay, so in this variable will be having this data type as num1. Num1 is a data type. Okay, so if you are not aware what is this data type, you go to F4 and check out. This is an integer. Simple in layman term, we can say int I equal to int I in short. This int I is nothing but
integer.
Yeah, this is integer. Like int a, what is that? So this variable will be representing this data type. Okay. Now going to the properties, the main thing is about to import export. Now why to import export? Why? Because in run operation, when we are going to run this variable will be giving the values as well as taking the values. So when it decrements the value, it again is imported, and it at the time it wants to send the value. What is my value? System, the variable will say that I am right now 5. Then it will say okay, come 4. Then it will say again 5. So that is nothing but this property import export. You go to initial value, we set this value as some let's suppose 3 times. I want to variable initial value. Okay. So this variable will be of type num1, which is of character 1. It will be having an initial value of 3 and this will be having an import export. Okay, so as we can see below, the variable is set up. Save it and give it a simple name, WFF. Just give it an abbreviation just to remember that this is my workflow. We save it in the package. Give some relevant, always choose your own request IDs. So as you can see, we have created this one variable in this our new workflow. Now we want to use this variable in a loop, like we say for I equal to 0 in C language, I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Now this thing is going to be here. We are going to check this step where we double click, or you can simply right click and select create. On the create operations there are various steps. Now as mentioned, we are going to follow this. We are also going to consider container operations and also going to look for send activity, mail send activity. So first thing first, loop until. This step is going to be considered. Now this loop will, or this pop-up window will appear. In this case, you have condition. Click here to create a new condition. Now for loop, like for where clause we have where I equal to I less than something. So this condition is set up here. So this condition will create it by clicking it. That's it. Now I have just clicked it and I can see my variable is over here. Sorry, the variable is over here. So once I double click it, the variable should appear here. Okay, and variable value we can give equal to, value should be 0. Okay, so anyone of you can tell me what is this condition I have set up? My variable, which is of character 1, which is having initial value 3, should be equal to 0. Why equal to 0? Nikhil, please guide us. Hemant.
3 times loop after.
That is initial value, but why this is 0 over here? Namrata? No idea. Vipin?
Initially 0 was
Oh my god, initial is 3. Initial we have set up is 3, not 0. So again, this variable we need to iterate the loop how many times? 3 times. But how to make sure it will iterate for 3 times? To keep the value condition as 0. Okay. So as you can see over here, what is the name of the step? Loop until. Until means जब तक, लूप जब तक, तो वो स्टेप जो है कब तक, वो स्टेप हम यहाँ पे मेंशन कर रहे हैं, उसका काउंटर का वैल्यू जब तक 0 नहीं होता, इक्वल टू 0, तब तक ये लूप चलता रहेगा. रोहन, करेक्ट. So this is very important step. Also there is one very important step below. Now this true is, we are going to stop sending mail then. If it is true, loop ends. Okay, and we are going to send mail. Okay, so what does this mean? New loop pass. First the value of the variable is 3. It will go into the loop, iterate. I'll do the decrement operation, then its value will be what? 2. So similarly, once it reaches to 0, what is the condition over here? The variable value equal to 0. If it is 0, then this will return true. So we have to stop sending mail. See, first thing, get this, why am I doing this? Why true and why false? This will only intimate me that okay, you have to stop sending mail, and also this is nothing but a label which will appear on the graphical layout of the workflow. It will not send this information. It is just for me to understand भाई yes कौन सा और no कौन सा. You have to get this because later on I'll require you all to test this workflow from your side. Not test, create it. So please pay attention. So any doubts till now? We have created a loop until we just click this one. Loop, okay. So here we have this workflow. Our new step has been created. Now as you can see, I can zoom in or okay, as you can see this is send mail and this is stop sending mail, I guess. Okay. So this is stop sending mail and that is send mail. Okay. So these are labels appearing. True is nothing but it will iterate in this, it will go round and round, and when it is false, it will go down. Down is nothing but completion of the workflow. Okay, so now once the loop is there, we also need to decrement. भाई ये 3 का काउंटर ये 3 ही रहेगा, हमेशा गोल घूमते ही रहेगा. We need to decrement the variable value. Okay, ये loop until किसके ऊपर है? कौन से वेरिएबल के ऊपर है? LV काउंटर. तो अभी हमको LV काउंटर की वैल्यू डिक्रीमेंट करनी है ताकि वो लूप 3 बार घूमे. 3, 2, 1 और 0 आ गया तो कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. तो यहाँ पे हम जो सेंड मेल है वहाँ पे हम जाते हैं और राइट क्लिक करते हैं. यहाँ पे क्रिएट ऑपरेशन होगा. अभी एक क्रिएट एज एन क्रिएट स्टेप करेंगे हम एक नया. अभी इसमें से हमारा बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेप है ये कंटेनर ऑपरेशन. So in this container operation, okay, so in this container operation, we are going to do a decrement operation. Okay. Step not in workflow. The possibility to suppress the display of nodes in the workflow log and graphical workflow. So this is nothing but if I untick this, it will show that this step has been executed in the workflow log, which we are going to look. So always remember this tick is not very relevant, but it will just help you trace down whether this step has been executed. Okay, so we have created a container operation. We are giving it some name and also outcome name. Okay. So which variable we are considering over here? LV counter. In this LV counter, we are going to pass this LV counter value to its and percent. And percent nothing but a value. The value of the LV counter is in here, and here we subtract it to 1. Okay. Quite simple. As you can see over here, workflow, let me just rearrange it something which will look good. Okay. Workflow has started. This loop until is there object, and this decrement operation that we have created is also here. Okay. So we have these two objects. There are various tabs also. Okay. So as you can see, we are using this loop container. This will be referring to this variable, and this variable will subtract it to value 1. Okay. So any doubts till now? Everyone understands everything till now? So this workflow has been created. This decrement operations is also there. So you can see over here there is one. Now since this will be iterating 3 times, we need to also send the mail. अभी ये वेरिएबल ले लिया भैया, इसमें लूप अंटिल में आ गया एंड इट इज गोइंग टू गेट डिक्रीमेंटेड इन एवरी लूप. सो 3 2 1 होगा. सो ये जब लूप होगा ना, सो वी हैव नथिंग बट सेंड द मेल. वी वांट टू सेंड द मेल. So we'll also check out how to do this functionality. We go here and click right click. Again same as we have done for every other step, we are going to create new. Again we get the same list of pop-up. Now here we have already utilized loop until. We have done the decrement operation using container operations. And now we are going to achieve send mail functionality. Now see, this use case is very simple, but in real time examples, this might be useful. That suppose you just want to send the mail, you need to know how the functionality of the mail triggering is there. Okay, so in send mail, I've just clicked on send mail. Now this object will give me by default, since I've already gone through the cycle, this is already proposing me the default value. But for you, it might not appear for the first time. So here we are going to select the organization object. In the expression, as you can see, you can use this workflow initiator over here. Now how I got the workflow initiator? You can take a F4 on this and see the initiator. Now what is this initiator? Initiator is nothing but the person who triggers the workflow. Okay, जो person trigger करेगा workflow उसको बोलते हैं workflow initiator. So by default, if I test it, then I'll be the initiator. Okay. There are also n number of scenarios like a particular user. So in this particular user, let's suppose I'm the user and I want only when Pawan ji user executes it. If the workflow is only triggered when I'm logging using this user. Okay. If not, it will not trigger. If another user, SAP user or any other user is there, it will not trigger. So get this important. This is very important step. There are various scenarios. We cannot cover all the scenarios in one go. So I'm just trying to give you imagination. अगर ये user के against करना है हमको check, तो we give the condition as user. Okay, currently
authorization जैसे वर्क करता है.
Authorization नहीं, यहाँ पे trigger workflow कब करना है? वो जो user है, recipients है. Okay, so recipients are nothing but which are going to get. Correct. So in this case, I am passing this user my own number, but as going through our conventional way, I'll go use workflow initiator. So anyone can execute this workflow. Since this is workflow initiator, जो भी execute करेगा उसको मिल जाएगा. Okay, that is the meaning of recipient actually. Okay, so here we have subject. Subject is some heading of the mail. That is the subject. Okay. Mail triggering example. Some relevant name which will identify this, because there are a number of mails using this header. And also we have body, so we write something XYZ. Okay, so here we have some body written of the mail. We have the header written, and who are the recipient. This. If you want to send a mail, just imagine आपको to डालना पड़ता है, subject डालना पड़ता है, फिर body डालनी पड़ती है. यहाँ पे to कौन रहेगा? जो workflow initiator. Initiator मतलब जो भी workflow trigger करेगा उसको mail आएगा. उसके बाद we have this subject of the mail. We have this body of the mail. Any problem in this? Nikhil. Send Express. These are various functionalities given by SAP. Even I have not checked it out, because these are very specific. Express is nothing but I believe which is not a typical mail. Jैसे specify that the mail is sent in an express mail within the system. A dialog information recipients of the mail. So it simply elaborates that it's an express mail within the system. So it might not be triggering, it will simply just send express or something. But I'm not sure, you need to check on that. And there is another signature and encryption. So anytime you can go on this and right click on this to get the more information on that. So keep jumping back.
यूज होती कधी सिग्नेचर तो यूज होतो
Signature. The signature, this is the flag indicates that the outbound email contains a signature. So if I tick it, it will just intimate that this is including the signature. Signature क्या होता है भैया? Regards.
अपने जैसा
करेक्ट, वो बॉडी के नीचे आता है बाय डिफॉल्ट. अब जब सेंड करते हो मेल, सिग्नेचर नहीं टाइप करते हो. करेक्ट, वो बाय डिफॉल्ट हमने जीमेल में कॉन्फ़िगर कर दिया. Automatically this will be referring to that. Okay. There is another setup for that. We'll look into that in next.
इंक्रिप्शन सिक्योर रहेगा ऐसे
Encryption is nothing but related to cryptography, where the mail is not sent as a plain text format. It is encrypted. So encrypted in the sense, if I'm A sending to B, A B के बीच में अगर एक थर्ड पर्सन है जो रीड कर रहा है मेल, तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो गया.
नहीं कर नहीं सकता है तो
हाँ. So in that case, if I go for encryption, it will use some encryption algorithm to cipher the text. Cipher is nothing but coding. यहाँ से कोड होके जाएगा और B एनकोड होके पड़ेगा. So here I don't think much is to explain. There are other tabs as well. So there are other tabs as well, which are not necessary right now, but in future they might be. Like as I said, every requirement is itself a new requirement. So no two requirement can be similar in real life. Okay, I'll just rearrange it again, make a meaningful graph. Okay, it is not turned into meaningful, rather than meaningful. Okay, so this workflow will get initiated over here, started over here, and then it will go to the loop. The variable is this LV counter. Condition is अगर ये भाई 0 होगा तो रिटर्न करो ट्रू, मतलब लूप एंड होगा, और स्टॉप सेंडिंग मेल. अगर इसकी वैल्यू 0 नहीं है तो तब तक मेल सेंड करते रहो. I'm just going through that again. So once we go for no, the value is not 0, so it will go again for loop. It will decrement the value first. Okay, since we have entered into the loop, we have to decrement it. So in the decrement we are utilizing container operations. This step will have some relevant description, and we are going to utilize the same variable which is in the loop until. तो भैया कैसे होगा कि दो अलग वेरिएबल है, it is set to 3 and we are decrementing some other variable, so it will not be relevant. So for that to stop sometime, we have to refer the same variable, and we are getting the assignment operator, which is nothing but
decrement
password.
initial value से होना ना 3 to 1.
Decrement initial value, but it should satisfy the loop until condition. The loop until is 0.
Yeah.
If the loop until condition is equal to 1, then I have to iterate this 3 times, then I need to keep the value initial as 4. 4, 3, 2. जब वो until मतलब क्या, जब तक इसकी वैल्यू कंडीशन मैच नहीं होती ना, तब तक वो लूप घूमते रहेगा, in simple term. So the value there is 0. Now the initial value is 3. We are going to decrement it by some value. For right now we have kept as 1. And also we have this send mail functionality. So according to that we are going to send mail. Similarly, as I've already explained, जो simple mail send में हम क्या डालते हैं, header डालते हैं किसको जाएगा mail. We also send the subject and the body. No problem in that, I guess. You can anytime go for your check. Okay, the check will be nothing but simulating if there is an error. कभी by mistakenly we type something, or the workflow will not trigger. So the best thing is always to check every step. And once this this loop will be going 3 times, and once the value is 0, because अंदर जाने के बाद ये डिक्रीमेंट करता है, तो पहले लूप में 2 हो जाएगा, इट विल कम हियर, दूसरे लूप में 1 हो जाएगा, और लास्ट लूप में 0 हो जाएगा, मतलब 3 बार हो गया, जो कि हमारा इंटेंशन है. अभी जहाँ पे ये डिक्रीमेंट होकर 0 हो जाएगा, यहाँ पे आके वो चेक करेगा कि वैल्यू 0 है क्या. Yes, it is true, then stop sending mail.
Yes.
So it will come here and complete the workflow. We are going to save it, check it for any errors. The warnings are there, and I suppose there are not any errors. Okay, 0 errors. I'm going to also activate it. Activating the generated relevance object. Okay, so now we are going to go in the second phase, which is testing. Now we have created this simple workflow which utilizes 3 steps in one workflow. So in real life, as I said, you will be utilizing some of the step. You are only going to send mail, or only going to decrement the value. So this is example covering all the 3 steps. So you can mold your own examples out of it and come. Now moving forward, we are going to test it. While testing it, as you can see, the variable value is shown over here, 3. Initial value हमने सेट किया है 3. Workflow initiator है, and we have this business workplace. Again, the decode is SBWB. So you can go from here, or you can click over here. Same. Utilize this. And again, as mentioned, वो एक टिक मार्क था, स्टेप नॉट टू बी डिस्प्लेड इन वर्कफ्लो लॉग, तो वो यहाँ पे लॉग है. तो अगर वो टिक मार्क कर देता हूँ मैं, तो यहाँ पे नहीं दिखेगा वो डिक्रीमेंट काउंटर के वक्त एक टिक मार्क था, मैंने मेंशन किया. दिस इज नथिंग बट दैट सेम. दिस इज ऑल्सो द ग्राफिकल व्यू एक्चुअली. सो फर्स्ट वी रिफ्रेश इट and execute it. Work item should be generated. It is. Now, as I mentioned, we are going to check the SOST. This is nothing but outbound mails. To our surprise, we can see our mail has been triggered. How much? 3. Why 3? Because the value was 3 and loop went 3 times. And 4th time it came out.
0 झालं की बाहेर पडणार 3 to 1.
If you want to check the content of that, you go to display icon. So this 2 has already come. The subjects is over here and the body is over here. There are this details coming from our workflow only. Okay. As you can see, our workflow testing has been done. So workflow has been triggered successfully, and now as moving back here, now these 2 points are very important. Now these were disabled. After testing, it got enabled. Correct. So after you test it, it will generate some files and it will refer to that file. Going to the most important graphical log. So in this, you are going to see, boss, everything is green. That means the workflow went through all these steps and it got executed successfully. Going to the workflow log now. The workflow log, as you can see over here, this is very important as well. The mail has been sent. Most of the time you will face this error, भैया condition सही है, it is creating the work item, but the mail is not sent. I am not receiving the mail in. Then what is the problem? So you need to understand, boss, which step is not executed. So out of this whole workflow, where it is not triggering, that is the question. I again go to SWTD. It will by default open the recent workflow. That is nothing but hours 20. So correct. This graphical. Okay, so as you can see, workflow has been started, loop until decrement, send mail and complete. So अभी इसमें से कौन से step complete नहीं हुई है? Which step is not executed by workflow? For that to know, you can come over here and anytime check this workflow 3 बार execute हुआ है and complete भी हुआ है and mail send भी हुआ है. यहाँ पे एरर आ गया तो एरर आ जाएगा, इनकम्प्लीट आ जाएगा, कुछ इश्यूज होंगे तो यहाँ पे दिख जाएंगे. डिटेल्स देखने तो एनी टाइम यू कैन क्लिक ऑन डिटेल. ओके, तो डिटेल इट विल गिव एज बिलो. दिस agent was used and this all information. Also you can see this graphical protocol, again going back to the same graphical log. Green as in it is went through all this step. If it is not went through all this step, then it will not be green. Simple terms. Okay, I guess that is the end